Welcome back, everyone, to Meth Infinite Edge episode 9, our final episode of the series. Time flies when you're having fun. So, hey, if you're just tuning in, today we're talking about the role of security in digital transformation, an increasingly important topic. In fact, there was another cyber attack making the headlines this morning. Can you believe it? Yeah. The government is still looking for the hacker. They think he ransomware. Ransomware. All right, enough jokes. Time for some questions. For example, is MEF uniquely positioned to play a critical role in the security space? And if so, how? To get answers, we join MEF CTO Pascal Menezes for an overview of the innovative work planned and MEF projects completed and underway. Pascal, over to you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's last episode on cybersecurity services. As you know, MEF has been putting on these Infinite Edge episodes every month, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. And this last episode, coming to an end, is all about cybersecurity. Now, I want to talk about why is cybersecurity so important. Number one, as you know, I've been saying many times in the MEF perspective, that digital transformation is really approaching $6.8 trillion of investments from 2020 to 2023, and it continues to explode massively. But with that, digital transformation is really dependent on networks as the underpinning. And with networks, we're seeing that cybercrime is just going through the roof. There's over $1 trillion of damage being done, and it continues to grow bigger and bigger. In fact, just this week, we saw that all the major hyperscale providers joined in after meeting with Biden and talked about pledging up to $30 billion in funds to not only train people, but to come up with new product innovations and really work together collaboratively to solve this issue of cybercrime. So it's a real issue, a massive. Let me go further than that. First, number one, we see ransomware on the rise massively. We see these threat actors and these progressions going on. The average ransomware payment is really topping about 5.3 million. You see this double extortion model where the attacker first encrypts the data and then they publicly release sensitive information and IP. And now we're seeing quadruple extortion, where basically you not only have the other two, but they additionally do a denial of service attack. And they additionally harass the company by publicly creating media around how they've been attacked and breached and to all their customers and supply chain. So you can see ransomware is real. It's a real threat and a problem. And it's destructive because it's using zero-day attacks vectors. And this is really occurring 51% of the time. So trying to stop this with any kind of signature-based, kind of anti-malware-based kind of technology doesn't work anymore. It has to be zero-day based, and it's very sophisticated. And we do need AI, ML involved in this in all aspects. And I'll talk more about this and what MEF's doing in this area. Also, we're seeing that not only when malware gets infected, it also wipes out the logs or changes the date and timestamps. So when you go back to really do an audit of what really happened, it's hard to figure out what's going on. And really, finally, the most important thing is it's not just attacking IT systems, it's attacking operational technology systems. So think about, we saw the pipeline ransomware. That was on the IT side. It wasn't the actual pipeline. But you're seeing all these grids and water and you name it that we're all very dependent upon, shipping. They are all very important and they're using operational technologies. If ransomware or attacks, cybercrime happens on these areas, we have massive problems in our society. So cybercrime is a real threat, a real problem, and as more and more things get connected, we're seeing this as something that needs to be addressed. So what we've been saying, and I've been saying this for a very long time, is that MEF is looking at this holistically, and we've been involved in network transformation for the digital economy. And really what we've been talking about is really having this end-to-end system to be frictionless, this ecosystem to be frictionless from device to service, wherever that service might live, whether it be an edge service or a regional service or a cloud service or whatever, it doesn't matter. From wherever device and wherever that user on the device, application, or machine wants to be, then it should be able to get the same experience to wherever that service lives. And I've been saying this many times, and it's very much part of our DNA, that we want to make sure that the application performs correctly, and number two, that it's free of malware. So cybersecurity is part of this whole journey of network transformation. And we at MEF are doing many things in this area. So I'm going to zoom in exactly what we're doing in MEF and where I believe is where the market's moving to additionally, and where I believe we can make some additional investments and hope to. So let me start with, as you know, we've been talking about not only SD-WAN, we did a lot of work in SD-WAN and we're about to release version 2 of our SD-WAN specifications. But Sassy has been top of mind, especially during this pandemic, because Sassy is really a cloud-based security cloud that lives at the edges, very close to where the enterprises are, to reduce that delay and latency. And everything that you want to do or a user wants to do gets scrubbed through that security cloud of that Sassy at the edge to wherever destination they want to go, whether it be even the internet or to private public clouds and so on. So I've been saying that many times in our cybersecurity sessions and other cybersecurity sessions and episodes. But Sassy is very big, and we're working very, very diligently to release Sassy, the first official standard of what is Sassy, vocabulary, language, constructs, labels, and attributes and policies that can then be applied to automation and all our APIs we're doing in MEF. So that's number one. Now, with Sassy, as you know, Zero Trust plays an integral part of Sassy. And with Zero Trust, we see the ability that wherever these applications or users are, they have to first identify themselves with a credential. And then based on that credential, they are allowed to do and go based upon access rules. And so that becomes authorization. So not only have authentication, but authorization. And that authorization applies not only to where within applications and machines and so on, but also within the network. The network will also be plumbed in with policies about through the, this enforcement points, what can be done, what flows can flow where. So even during denial of service attacks, these flows can be mitigated. So there are lots of work that's happening in MEF. And this will be also the first really industry standard on Zero Trust. We see other bodies doing some kind of more white paperish kind of framework thing. But what we're talking about, an official real standard that delivers on, again, the vocabulary, construct, labels, and so on, policies that will align with Sassy, that will align with SD-WAN and so on. So this is very, very critical. So again, we have two brothers and sister companion specs being worked on right now, and sometime in 2022, they will be out in the public. And we will talk about the certification of that. Now, additionally, I believe there's also an opportunity in this idea of extended detection response. Now, what is that? It's really the ability to do a managed service of extended detection response, where basically information, all kind of security events, and all kind of events, including application performance from SD-WAN environments, endpoint kind of security events, and basically Sassy security events, and all kind of telemetry data being collected. And from that telemetry data getting put up into a data lake and using AI ops and AI ML to really analyze all that data to look at, is there a zero-day attack happening? Or is any abnormal behaviors or traffic flows? And based upon that, alarm SecOps to then look at and give prescriptive guidance of if this is a real attack, a real malware happening, and what to look at, and to really give that guidance to the SecOps people so they can really have the intelligence to really understand if this is truly, a cyber attack happening or versus being a false positive. So I believe there's a lot of opportunity. Additionally, I believe through our East-West APIs we're doing with Sonata and Cantata and all the operational APIs of Allegro and Interlude, I believe there is ability to standardize a threat format where we can standardize threat information on those APIs, which are already being used for other areas of connectivity, we'll use future for edge compute and so on, but also the ability to exchange threat information. And just think of even just having various providers know that there's a denial of service attack and some of the flows are coming from a provider's network, that from their base, or whatever that might be, that it's actually being, some of the denial of service flows are coming from that to shut the flow down. Just a simple scenario like that is also very useful, preventing these various threats, cyber threats from threat actors. So with that, I want to talk about, MEF is about to launch out, the first cybersecurity certification program that will be really targeted initially around our MEF-88, which is our application service protection for SD-WAN. And it's really around, we're going to come up with a secure SD-WAN cyber kind of certification, and it'll be our first journey into certifying cybersecurity, specifically around MEF-88, which is our application floor security for SD-WAN. But soon we'll come out with our Sassy and our Zero Trust, and that cybersecurity certification will evolve, or that secure SD-WAN certification will evolve into Sassy and Zero Trust and start addressing the cybersecurity certification. Now, as you know, cybersecurity is a very, very challenging topic really to address, because you can't just certify it once. Basically in cybersecurity, I believe that the threats have to be continuously analyzed and the postures to know, is there a threat or not? And that means that there has to be, from a certification, there has to be a consistent, constant analysis of making sure that these edges and these boundaries are actually being secured, and also within the network, within the services, are the zero trust policies being observed, and so on. So it's really a very complex environment to understand. How do you do a consistent, persistent cybersecurity certification, and how do we even tell the subscribers that, yeah, they are secure? Is it some kind of scoring number? And what does that mean? And how do we provide some kind of guarantees? So very complex subjects that we're embarking on. But at MEF, we are definitely moving in this direction. And starting with our secure SD-WAN, we will embark on a cybersecurity certification eventually that will answer all these questions. So very challenging area, but we are embarking on this. Finally, security and cybersecurity goes well beyond just what we talked about, Sassy and Zero Trust, but we see more and more that automation plays a critical role. And with that, APIs have to be secure. So how do we, with microservices and machine-to-machine communication and so on, APIs play a very critical role. And how do we secure APIs? So what we've done at MEF is we have released many versions, our 7th version of our East-West APIs of Sonata, and we have a huge amount of assets, as you can see in this slide, and the assets are massive. And with that, we are also addressing how do we handle API security. And we have a project underway that's well underway called MEF-W128 that we see really cybersecurity on APIs, or how we secure APIs, in basically 3 fundamental ways. There's transport, TLS, basically that's been used forever, but this is now thinking about mutual TLS. There is the new paradigm that's occurred since 2007 around OAuth 2, and now with OIDC to give federated identity. So OpenID Connect and OAuth 2 is definitely a way of doing authentication and authorization at a much, much more granular and scalable way with scopes and profiles and so on. And additionally, the world is moving into basically this idea of basically self-signed certification. And what you're seeing is this idea of self-sovereign identification, that using blockchain, a public cert can be inserted, self-signed, inserted in a blockchain, and basically get back a decentralized ID, which becomes an ID that I can use and give and be looked up in the blockchain and get the public cert. And in that public cert can have all kinds of profile information about the application, user, or device. So this is very important. Now, this is where the world is moving to, and certainly is where the industries of all kinds, banking, automotive, everything is moving to this self-sovereign identity models. So we at MEF are also recognizing that we have to address in a crawl, walk, run scenario of how we will give guidance to our members of how to implement secure APIs. So with that, I encourage you to look at MEF-POC 130. We have also been working on MEF 114, which is our distributed ledger technology, which allows our East-West APIs to basically have the ability of providing non-repudiation so that every transaction on those East-West APIs are put into the blockchain so that we have bilateral or omnilateral ledgers that parties can look at. So when they come to reconcile and do the invoice and billing and payment, it can't be repudiated that those transactions were real. So that helps a lot in this whole non-repudiation and the settlement, the billing and settlement. And MEF 114 is all about that, is to have, we have a standard that's about to come out that talks about how to do that using blockchains. And with that blockchain technology, self-sovereign identities and DIDs will occur eventually. So with that, you can see MEF is well underway of really treating and handling and managing the network transformation journey for cybersecurity. So with that, I want to thank you for your time and have a great day. And this is a fabulous episode. So stay tuned and watch the rest of the sessions. And very much grateful for Dave's great keynote on cybersecurity. Take care and have a great day.